Welcome back, kings and queens, and welcome if you're new here. My name is Hope King and I'm the designer of King's Designs MD. Today I'm actually designing a box to be able to use for your gifting purposes. So this is basically a floral style box. So this is going to be an open window box. You can actually add acetate backing to it if you want, or you can leave it open to design however you like. I just want to show you how to make the box today. So this is basically our template. I'm going to move that to the side, but we know this is what the box is going to look like. So we're going to grab a shape. We're going to go over to shapes and grab a square. The first thing we're going to do is move this to the 0 on the X and Y axis. We're going to unlock it and we are going to make this 7 by 11 inches. Make sure it's unlocked so you can make it 7 by 11 inches. Now, again, keeping this on the X and Y axis, we are going to grab another shape, and I'm going to grab the square with the rounded corners. I'm going to unlock this shape, and I am going to make this 5 by 8 inches. Now, this is going to be able to give it this nice cutout line. Now, I don't want to make this perfectly centered, and I'm going to show you why. When we go over to add this, when we glue it and put it all together, we need to make sure we have a 2-inch mark at the bottom, and we're going to have a 1-inch handle at the top. So the way we're seeing it here is upside down, but just to make it easier to cut, we're going to put this on the 2-inch line on the Y and the 1-inch on the X. So first thing I'm actually going to do, I'm going to highlight over it because I want to make sure it's actually centered. So I'm going to center that horizontally because it may be off from the 1 inch. So again, you can highlight over both, go to align and click center horizontally. This will make sure it is perfectly horizontal. I am going to move both over to the 0 since they're both highlighted together. And now, since they're both even, just checking that again, I'm going to click on my middle box and I'm going to make sure this is set to the 2-inch line on the Y axis. So again, it is 1 on the X and 2 on the Y. You can do this manually, but you want to make sure that it's straight. So you can highlight over both and then click slice. Once you've sliced it, you can get rid of your slice results, and this is what you have. So this is essentially the top of the box, and this will be the bottom that will attach to the base. I'm going to change this to red just so we know that this is our working template, and I'm going to duplicate it. Now I'm going to hide both of these. And I'm going to hide these because that's the two that I just showed you that we made. And we're going to make this. So if you see my instructions here, this is what we're going to be using. So I'm going to grab a square and I'm going to set this square to be 7 inches by 9.5. I'm going to grab another square and I am going to set this one to be 11 inches by 5.5. I'm going to move this over. But what I'm going to do again is highlight over these two together. And I am going to center this. Now once it's centered, you start to see your box taking shape. I'm going to go over to the section that says combine and I'm going to weld it. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is add our tabs. So if you're used to making boxes, you know that we typically have tabs on the side that help to put them together. So if you didn't see what I did, I went to shapes, I grabbed a hexagon, and I moved it over here. So again, I told you I like to work on the 0, X, and Y axis because it just helps to make life easier. So I'm going to zoom this in. Now I'm going to move my hexagon. It's already in its original shape, which is 2 inches by 1.732 inches. I'm not changing that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to move this over to the 0x and the 1.25y. I'm going to highlight over these two together and I'm going to weld it. Now that gives me a cute little tab. I'm going to flip this box and I'm going to do the same thing again. Go shapes, grab a hexagon, put it on a 0x and the 1.25y, 0x, 1.25y, gonna highlight over it and I'm gonna weld it. Now we're gonna flip this upside down and I'm gonna do the same thing again. Zero x, 1.25y, highlight and weld. Now I know somebody's going to say, can't you just move it to those points? You can, but sometimes this just makes it a little bit easier for people who are learning how to make boxes to be able to get what they need done. So I'm just flipping it and flipping it so I can get this empty space here, and we're going to do the last one. Zero x, exact same thing, 1.25y, and we'll highlight over it. And the last thing we're going to do is put our lines in. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. Alright, one of the easiest ways to do this is to grab a shape. We're going to use the square with the 90-degree corners. We're going to make this 7 inches by 5.5. I just need to make sure that's unlocked. 7 by 5.5. And then we need to center this. So you can highlight over both and click center. Now if you just leave this alone, it's going to cut out a square. So what we need to do is set this to be a score line. And now it will score the box for us. So I'm going to highlight over that and I'm going to click attach. You're going to also need to add some additional lines just to get your tabs going here. So when you get ready to do your box, you're going to need 4 more lines across here. You can do it the easy way and grab a shape, put a line in. Let's see if we can make this 9 inches, if that'll work. Rotate this on a 90-degree angle. And let's see if that's going to be long enough for us. Nope, we're going to have to make it 11 inches. Now I said this being the easy way because it will you can just set it on the 0x and a 2-inch Y, and it'll sit on that same line and it just score all the way across. You can duplicate this and make sure it lines up on that 7.5-inch line. And now you have your scores going all the way across. This is the easy way, but if you have light cardstock, this is going to give a deeper imprint here and could potentially rip your cardstock. So you can do that here, or you can just put a 2-inch line here and a 2-inch line here, and I'll show you. If you don't want to do anything else, you can attach everything, click make it, and be able to go to your it'll go to your cutting mat. But if you don't want to accidentally tear your cardstock, you can change this to be a 2-inch line. And you see it just sits right here. You can duplicate that and move it to the 0 and the 2-inch line, the 0x and the 2-inch Y, and then it will sit perfectly in place, so you'll have a score going across. You can take this line out. You can duplicate this one again and move it down here to the 7.5, should be good. And then you can duplicate it again and move it over here, which should end up being the 9-inch line and the 7.5-inch line. 9-inch X and the Y is 7.5. So that will give you everything you need. You can highlight over everything, attach it. And again, I'm just going to turn this box red just so we know that this is the new one. So I'm going to bring back my red pieces. And this is what our new box looks like that we just made. We're just zooming out. And flipping this over. So again, the 2-inch part is going to sit right here when you glue it together. And then the 1-inch part is going to be the top, and that will be the handle. So